Mr. Speaker, we've been hearing a lot of preach from this side of the House, ladies and gentlemen. They keep on repeating about how status quo is not, how this backlash democracy by saying that it makes people live in fear, ladies and gentlemen. We say that it's totally irrelevant in this case. Let us put ourselves in the shoes of this country and analyze the real question in this debate, right? In this debate, we have to analyze two major questions. Number one, whether proper grounds exist in order to implement NSA. And number two, whether the essence of NSA violates the principle of democracy and Indonesia's commitment in order to uphold democracy, ladies and gentlemen. First question, whether proper ground exists in order to implement the NSA. Now, opening told you several things, right? They barged about the idea of why status quo is enough, how law enforcement is currently adequate enough to handle such a thing, ladies and gentlemen. Now, we say that their definition of capability is very broad and inspecific towards this debate, ladies and gentlemen. Why, ladies and gentlemen? Because if we see the current status quo is that Indonesia's current capability is only limited to identify who delivered these bombs, for example, who is the leader of NII, and to show that NII is indeed dangerous for the country, ladies and gentlemen. And the capability is only limited towards that circumstances, ladies and gentlemen, but not good enough in order to tackle the main goal of law, ladies and gentlemen, which is to tackle the problem from the source, which I'm going to explain why it is mutually exclusive for us to implement the NSA, ladies and gentlemen. Take an example, the case of Mexican cartel, ladies and gentlemen. Mexican police have the ability to capture the drug sellers, ladies and gentlemen, but doesn't necessarily have the ability to capture the leaders of this cartel, ladies and gentlemen, which has become the ultimate goal of the Mexican government, right? So this is what we meant by capability, ladies and gentlemen, and therefore they never answer why such capability exists in the status quo, ladies and gentlemen. But on the second layer, we say that even if law enforcement have that capability, ladies and gentlemen, it perfectly falls under our proposal, ladies and gentlemen, in the status quo that current government and current law system already managed to do that, ladies and gentlemen. We are only taking this towards the extensive measure of making this national law, ladies and gentlemen. They even admit that there is a balance of rights. What does it mean? It means that government do take several portion of rights for the sake of national security, ladies and gentlemen, and the form of people trust towards the government. Number two, this will only add the net into the sea, ladies and gentlemen, by making this a national law. Second of all, they believe that Indonesia is not ready. Rather than the fact that they have been staying inconsistent toward their speech by saying sometimes that Indonesia is not ready, but again they say that check and balance system is not adequate enough. We say, ladies and gentlemen, even if, let's say, under the circumstances where government is not ready, we say that the readiness of the country comes secondary after eliminating the threat of national security, ladies and gentlemen. Why is that so? Because no matter a country is ready or not to implement NSA, ladies and gentlemen, when national threat strikes that particular country, it will automatically make the country in the state of paralyzed, ladies and gentlemen. So even if it is the case, we say that it's irrelevant in this circumstances. Right, closing mentions several things in this debate, such as severe punishment and also about how this will be costly to the government. We say these are only the minor points in this debate, right? If you're talking about severe punishment, even the status quo already exists, ladies and gentlemen. You have imposed that penalty towards terrorists, ladies and gentlemen. What kind of stricter punishment do you want in this debate, ladies and gentlemen? And number two, cost. For God's sake, are you saying that national security should not be defended just because it is expensive, ladies and gentlemen? Come on, give me a break, ladies and gentlemen. Right, on to the second part. And why at the end of the day, our side is the only side who managed to answer the first question in this debate. We say that NSA provides the exclusivity in order to overcome the national threat, and also the fact that the society is pro, ladies and gentlemen, by the fact that it has the ability to get first information, which will create veterans, ladies and gentlemen, because these suspects will have no other choice rather than telling the truth, and how it can eliminate the perpetrators faster. Yes,
and the problem with all members of this government batch is no longer really explain how NSA will capture the heart of terrorists, something that they complain from the very beginning.
That is because the reason why first-hand information exists, ladies and gentlemen. That is why in NSA you do not get the access towards outside factor, ladies and gentlemen. Means that all the information will be first come and first served towards the government. Question number two, whether the essence of NSA violates the principle of democracy and Indonesia's commitment in order to uphold democracy, ladies and gentlemen. Well, basically there are three things to this debate, right? First, how it spread fear and therefore it is not the essence of democracy. Our response will be, ladies and gentlemen, people only get fear when they do something wrong, ladies and gentlemen. This is what NSA provides. They will only capture people when there is a probable cause of guilt, ladies and gentlemen. But on the second level, even if it is not, ladies and gentlemen, we say that it is legitimate enough because it will show the society that their action in the past is the main cause of such of the view of the government that you have a probable cause towards the society, towards the nation, and therefore you should not repeat it again in the future, ladies and gentlemen. Right? Number 2. They talk about how it violates people's power, ladies and gentlemen, because that is the essence of democracy. Now, what we can get from this idea is that they are trying to establish the idea that democracy can only be established is when the people get the full power of the country, ladies and gentlemen. We say there's no such thing in democracy, ladies and gentlemen. The main reason why society elects the government already shows us that society gives some part of their rights to the government that makes the government powerful in the country, ladies and gentlemen, enabled to enact law, ladies and gentlemen, right? But even if it is the case, ladies and gentlemen, we say that this policy even strengthens people's power, ladies and gentlemen. Why? Despite the fact that it can have a first chain of formation, it eliminates the perpetrators of these conductors, ladies and gentlemen. Number 3, it doesn't involve consent. We say that consent comes secondary when it comes to security, ladies and gentlemen. Government do not require consent when they want to put CCTV on the road, ladies and gentlemen, because it is for the sake of your safetyness, ladies and gentlemen. So therefore, consent, as long as it happens in the public sphere, it is totally okay, ladies and gentlemen. And even if it happens in the private sphere, we see there is a probable guilt that triggers such action, ladies and gentlemen. So basically, what differentiates us from the opening, ladies and gentlemen? Opening told us 2 things. First, about the threat is the main justification of implementing the NSA. Number 2, there is this importance of the sense of security. But we ask, as the closing side, ladies and gentlemen, brought to you the extensive view, but bring it down to the context of Indonesia, as well as the feature of NSA, and make it mutually exclusive, ladies and gentlemen. So therefore, ladies and gentlemen, we want you to remember several things. How it provides a stronger and focused law enforcement, ladies and gentlemen, for these perpetrators, and how it can eventually strengthen the people's democracy, and how the nature of Indonesia that is law prone. Therefore, we need this law to be enacted, ladies and gentlemen. We are not the side who do not care about people's democracy. Indeed, we do care about them, ladies and gentlemen. And for the sake of national security, this motion should be passed.